Hi, I'm with Cath, who's one of the managers with Drop Zone Youth Projects. Thank you for coming today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, so we're talking about the Brilliant Barrow campaign, and I believe that it is a bid for a government grant of £25 million.
It is, yes.
Could you tell us about some of the opportunities that we have in Barrow to invest that money in, particularly in the community hubs?
Yeah, so there's a plan hopefully to have 4 community resilience hubs that will offer sort of advice and guidance to everybody in the community, really. And I think the survey that's gone out is to ask people what they would like to see in their hubs, hopefully to sort of develop something that's a needs-led thing, so that if people want financial support or mental health support, is that the hub can support that happening, really. So the surveys are out now. They're everywhere. They're on social media. They're on. They've been emailed everywhere. I think schools have got them, and it's very important that we get a cross section of our communities feeding into this bid, so that we get what we want as a community.
I was looking at the sort of areas that were covered. There's sort of 4 hubs. I know that Hindpool's one, Ormskill's one. Can you tell me about the other 2 hubs, potential hubs?
So there's going to be one in the town centre, and I think there's going to be one on Barrow Island. There's a lot of fantastic work going on in different areas of Barrow, especially Barrow Island. There's a lot of family support and community support over there, and I think that hopefully could be replicated in the other areas.
So because we're talking about some communities that might not have had access to this kind of support, this sort of center for, as you say, resilience and things like that, why do you think it's so important that people who live in that community sort of take part in this survey?
I think because it gives people ownership. If people are involved in developing something that benefits them, then there's a process and there's an end result. There are obviously people out there that can't access this survey, so obviously there's a big shout out there to community leaders, third sector leaders, and people that work with maybe more vulnerable people that can't access the internet or haven't got the means to access the internet, to maybe speak to them and get their responses so it can all feed back.
I'm actually looking at the Brilliant Barrow website. It's brilliantbarrow.org.uk, and you can connect to the survey. Now, the survey looks a little bit confusing. So if I were living in somewhere like Hindpool and I wanted to talk about, for example, support for young people, I put in my name, I put in my email address. Would I click urban regeneration, skills and enterprise, or infrastructure and connectivity? Do you know what would be the best?
Well, I did the form. I've done the form this week, and obviously I filled it in terms of my profession, which is obviously supporting young people. So I just put a paragraph in every box about what I would like to see for young people. Mm-hmm. Hopefully young people will feed back into the questionnaire and the survey. But yeah, I think for me, I would click on everyone and see, exactly what they're asking.
Yeah.
There's obviously plans to have hopefully a campus, which would be brilliant for our young people, not having to move away to go and get degrees and things, which keeps them in Barrow for our future generations to take over and rule the world.
Well, I think also, too, is to be quite specific about what you want, because the people who are actually planning don't know what you might need or your child might need. So sort of, think creatively about, and things like children's centers. Obviously, children's centers have closed around the area. So maybe, like for me, with a 10-year-old, I'd be thinking, well, what have we missed out on? What sort of clubs are we missing? What sort of community support are we missing? And hopefully there'll be some coordination with other, like you said, third sector groups to make sure that any of those gaps are filled by these hubs.
Yeah, and I think obviously at this moment in time, there's a lot of partnership work and going on. The third sector are quite involved with what's going on in the statutory sector and vice versa. So I think that it's the third sector work in quite a different way. We have different environments. We have open door policies. We make people brews. We have a chat. And I think that's very important. If that's what people want out of a community hub, then tell us that. Tell the survey that. So, you know, it might be that you want a break from the chaos of family life and you might want to just go and have a chat, or you might want somebody to help you, you know, apply for a job. It's all those, like, it's sort of looking at soft skills really and what maybe gets people to move forward slightly. So be honest, yeah, definitely.
Well, I just want to remind the listeners that you can go to the brilliantbarrow.org.uk website. I imagine you probably can contact the council as well if you don't have internet access.
Yeah, I think, and obviously the survey is online, but obviously it could be printed off. I know we discussed earlier that maybe, you know, if schools wanted to print some off and talk to their children and young people about it in a group and feed that back, I'm sure there's a way that can be fed back into the town Steel Board.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Hopefully we'll be able to do a follow-up in a few months.
Yeah.
And, you know, fingers crossed that we get that grant. That'd be great. Okay. Thank you, Cath, so much.
No problem.